Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. He's one-hit wonder, Sharief Ishaq. The biggest Saints story for you over the last week, whether it's combine related, cap restructure, what's kind of the buzz down in New Orleans?
I think the cap restructure is business as usual because they're going to do it every year until end of time. So that's never anything new to me. And I think everything they said at the combine is once again, Hunt. Jeff Ireland says this almost the same stuff every time. The only thing different this time around was Dennis Allen talking about Clint Kubiak and how he can incorporate his offense and make them a better offense this year. Maybe run the ball a little bit better and evolve as an offense. So I think that's the one big thing that I took away from Jeff Ireland, and as well as Dennis Allen, and hearing them talk about meeting with Jaden Daniels, which that ain't happening unless they give up 5 drafts. So let's just go ahead and forget about that.
Marcus May is going to be released here. Your reaction to that news?
Told you a few weeks ago, would be surprised if Marcus May is gone. I just think it didn't work out. I mean, he played 17 games, missed 17 games. Suspension, injuries, best ability is availability, and if you're missing half your games, it's just not going to work in this defense. And I thought, it just didn't pan out. It wasn't a good signing. Let's just go ahead and say what it was. It was just not a good signing. Now they got to figure out that position, Hunt, because right now only have Tyron Matthew, Jordan Howden, and JT Gray on this roster, and everyone else pretty much free agents. So they're going to have to do some work here once free agency start next week and in the draft.
Are you okay with Jordan Howden and Tyron Matthew being the starting safety combo, assuming then they would add significant depth behind them, whether it's Jonathan Abram coming back or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I do. I do like the way he played when he got his opportunity to play. He really showed some glimpses and chances he played. He got better as the season went along, just like any rookie usually does. Yeah, I'm good with it. That's why they brought him in. I think they really liked him in the evaluation process last year when he was coming out of Minnesota, and his ability to do sideline to sideline really does help, and he's a nice little tackler. I mean, you got to remember Antoine Winfield came from Minnesota as well, and he played really well. He's playing really well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think that's he'd be a safe bet for me to be next to Tyron Matthew with some depth. Of course, they're going to have to fill that out, but yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
The question was raised will Lante Taylor move back and play some safety? He squashed that, and I think for good reason. But your thoughts on that?
Nah, that ain't happening. You got to keep him at corner because of the possibility of Marshon Lattimore being traded. And then you start asking yourself, does he move outside? You keep him inside. He is slot or outside. He is not going to safety. So I think that, he remains at his position. He's not dropping back to safety. So I think that's, a smart move. You've already had him playing cornerback these 2 seasons he's been here. And I think you don't make that move. You just got to keep him where he is.
What do you think the timeline is for a decision on Marshon Lattimore? Are they just kind of waiting? Do you think they're actively pursuing an alternative there? What do you think we're looking at in terms of a time frame?
Well, the sticky situation is the money, as always. You do it now, I think it's a massive hit. I think I saw it was like $45 million.
Yeah.
Post, at least you can save a little bit more post June 1st. Also, you got to get the right compensation if you're going to do it before. And my gut tells me, it's weird. I don't know if trades can be posted before or first. Like if you trade him now, can you post it June 1st and save the money? If they can, I bet you they will, just to make sure they can get the compensation. If you can get the right picks, you do it. If he's not happy, doesn't want to be here, you got to move on. And he's the only asset, I feel like, young asset that's, worth something. To me, that it kind of stinks because for so many years they've been looking they were looking for lockdown corners. They were playing guys like B.W. Webb. And in those 7 and 9 seasons, they're like, oh man, if only we had corners. If only we had corners. Now you're going to ship off your best defensive player. And look, if he's unhappy, you do it, and you make sure you get the assets, and you continue to build the defense or offense in this case.
If you trade him off and you get the assets, and I realize that we're talking hypotheticals here, but is it draft pick compensation significantly? Are there starter caliber players you can recoup for him? What does that necessarily look like?
Well, look at it this way. Whenever they traded Jimmy Graham, what they get? They got a center and a first-round pick, which turned out to be Stephon Anthony, and that was awful.
Yep.
Brandon Cooks, they got Another first round pick. It's such a blur to me, but you'd love to get a starter and a pick. And if you can get a first round pick and a starter, it would be great. I mean, getting Max Unger in a first round pick was awesome. Now, can they flip that and do it in today's day and age? I'm sure you can, because Marshon Lattimore is a lockdown corner. He's one of the best in the NFL. And I would think the asking price would probably be a first and a starter, or multiple picks, first and a second, maybe a fourth.
And I'm just curious whether or not you think Dennis Allen would be on board with getting draft picks and getting rid of a Pro Bowl caliber player in a year that means so much to him, and whether or not his opinion on that matter is going to be listened to significantly.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have some say so in this. He's been kind of playing it quietly. So when it comes to Marshon Lattimore.
It's interesting, and we'll see as the league calendar moves forward and we get closer to draft time what the Saints decide to do as free agency cranks up here next week. All right, let's switch over to the Pelicans, who a disappointing loss at Indiana, but came home and smoked them last Friday. Had a couple of days off now. It's a road trip up to the Northeast, and it starts with Toronto. How do you feel about the Pels sitting here right now, having won 2 of 3, but having lost 3 of 5?
I like them a little bit better now. They better not lose 2 of 3 on this East Coast trip. They got to win 2 of 3. I think they got to beat Toronto. We should beat Toronto. They're injured. Philadelphia is a tricky one for me, because I still think they play really well without Joel Embiid. Atlanta, still got DeJounte Murray. They still got players over there that can give them trouble. But I do think they can take 2 of 3, and I'm really surprised if they take all 3. I do like the fact that they can take all 3. I mean, they beat the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid here, but the way they played the other night, I know it's not going to happen every night. They're not going to score 48 points. Ingram isn't going to go 9 of 11 and have 19 and a quarter. That's that happens once in a blue moon. But if they can get a percentage of that from this team, come close to that, I feel good about them. They just got to bottle some of that up, Hunt. They just got to do it, man. They just can't have these lulls, can't have these slumps. I feel like, just like the LSU women's basketball team, you have to find a way to peak now and towards the end of the season and show everyone that you're a serious contender.
At this point, Zion has been kind of the biggest talk over the last 2 weeks. Has there been an adjustment by the league? Is that still the best way for the Pelicans to play offensively and for Zion to play? What are your thoughts on that?
In spurts.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's sustainable. It's not sustainable for an entire game. You saw when C.J. McCollum was out, it was not sustainable for an entire game. It's too sloppy with the ball in his hands for an entire game. Loses the ball too much, the dribbling becomes a little too sloppy. You get turnovers, you get bad passes, can't handle the ball well. So in spurts, yeah, it works when you give him the ball and say, hey, go at the rim and hope that you get a foul call, which they've been complaining about a lot in the media and to the NBA. Or he gets a basket. I think I like the way he bull rushes to the rim. I do think he is starting to see the game a lot better with the ball in his hand. Now, when you got CJ in there, I think it's just as good. I know people look at the metrics and the data, but I still like the ball in CJ's hands, man. I just think he opens it up as well, and he can shoot the 3, so that opens it up for a lot of other players. But it works in spurts, to answer your question. I don't think it's great for an entire game.
It'll be the Pels at Toronto tonight at 6:30. You can watch it, incidentally, at Pluckers. They bring you our Tuesday shows each and every week. Sharif, thanks for the time, man.
Anytime, Hunt.
Sharief, Ishaq, WDSU down in New Orleans, our New Orleans correspondent weekly here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.